Yeah, although prosecutors don't have to show a motive to get a conviction for first-degree murder, juries want to know the motive, especially when they see this clean-cut guy with no criminal background. They want to know why he did it. Now, I think it's coming into focus why he did it. He seemed to be a devotee of serial killers and crime. I mean, he studied under the BTK's autobiographer. I mean, he was so interested in true crime that looks like he wanted to be the center of his own story.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Hello, Reporter Room investigators. My name is Jessica Della Davies. Welcome to Reporter Room. Today we're going to be talking about the Bryan Kohberger case, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into Strava and how this will help place BK at the 1122 King Road house. I'm also going to be sharing with you a major mistake that I believe Ann Taylor made, a big oops, if you will. And we're going to talk about the real reason that BK took his cell phone to the crime scene that night, allegedly, because he is innocent until proven guilty. But I am going to be talking about this crime in terms of BK because he is the only one who has been arrested, who has been indicted, and who is sitting in jail. So BK has not been offered any type of bail in this case. And in other cases, like the Casey Anthony case and the Robert Blake case, bail was given to these people prior. So I think that the reason that no bail has been asked for on the part of the defense team is because the evidence is so strong against BK. There's no way that the judge is going to take a chance and let him out on bail. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section below. Let's discuss Strava, and then we're going to talk about the real reason that BK took his cell phone to the crime scenes. The Latah County prosecution team, being led by Bill Thompson, they put in a request for BK's Strava information. So what is Strava? Strava is an app that monitors your walking, your running, your exercising, if you will. And BK had this on his phone. They also issued search warrants to Google, TikTok, Snapchat, and a variety of other things. And I think that law enforcement's purpose in using the Strava, and we know from the Alex Murdaugh case that Maggie's cell phone and the steps that she took helped law enforcement know what happened that night. It helped them piece together the story for the trial. Well, I think by the same token that this app, Strava, which was downloaded onto BK's phone, is going to help law enforcement piece together BK's movements leading up to the night and possibly on the night of the crimes. We know that that cell phone pinged 12 times in the vicinity of 1122 King Road house, that this Strava app and BK's cell phone pings as he went for a run or a bike ride will help law enforcement prove that it was his cell phone that is actually pinging and what towers they were pinging off of. It will help law enforcement narrow down, if you will, for the jury, because this is going to be a circumstantial case. I also think that the fact that law enforcement is going to have access to all of the social media information is also going to help them show interactions between BK and the victims. We're diving into the court documents, and at this time we're going to be taking a look at BK's Strava warrant. Now, according to the search warrant, we know that BK's data was requested from Strava. This is an app used by people who like to work out for running, biking, cycling. So the fact that BK turned off his cell phone or set it to airplane mode during the crimes, and I'm going to talk about the slip up that Ann Taylor made in just a second, so please stay with me. BK would have understood that taking his cell phone with him that night was a risk, so why did he take it? Was this an oversight? I don't think so. It was a calculated risk, in my opinion, and the reason he took the risk was that he knew he couldn't get in and out of the area without his car being tracked or being visible on CCTV or NPR road cameras. So the main priority would have been for him not to fall under law enforcement scrutiny that night, going to or coming back from the crime scene. So I don't think this was being careless on his part. I just think he was being overconfident. There's been a lot of speculation as to why BK left the hearing without saying thank you or even acknowledging his defense attorneys. It's gone anywhere from he had to use the restroom to he was upset. So it made me wonder, what was he so upset about? Well, listen to this exchange, because Ann Taylor lets the cat out of the bag. Listen to this.
Could we address one more deadline briefly?
Yes, of course. You all give me deadlines. I'll write them down.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's been an ongoing discussion beginning most recently with the state's request for scheduling order, and I believe Ms. Taylor briefly addressed it at the last hearing. There's been an ongoing discussion about the alibi deadline, and the state is asking the court to either limit the defendant to presenting evidence about the disclosure that he made related to the alibi, which was that he was driving around the night of the homicides, but not allowing any further discussion or evidence of an alibi, given the amount of time that has passed since the state requested that alibi disclosure. Alternatively, since it was in the court's scheduling order initially prior to the trial getting vacated, we would ask the court to set a 10-day deadline now, because that is consistent with the alibi statute. The state does not believe it is appropriate to tie the alibi to the jury trial date in this case. The statute that sets forth that 10-day timeline is completely separate from Rule 16 and other discovery deadlines through the litigation process. I think at this point, there has been so much time that has passed, and it has frankly causes the state great alarm that the defense is discussing calling upwards of 400 witnesses during the innocence phase when we don't have potentially don't have a full alibi disclosure. And when you look at cases regarding appeals from issues that arise during alibis that come up at trial, these cases are all defendants appealing a conviction because the state doesn't get a second chance. If the state gets ambushed at trial, that's it for us. We're asking the court to hold the defendant to a fair alibi deadline, and I think that the time has come. Thank you, Your Honor.
My understanding was that was it, but I may be wrong. Ms. Taylor.
No. When the court vacated the trial setting, the court vacated all of the deadlines, including the alibi deadline. That wasn't carved out as one that was still held through when the court vacated the rest of its scheduling order. So I don't think that we're foreclosed from that. The court also has the ability to give an extension besides the limited time by statute. In this case, it's more than Bryan was just driving around. We have let the state and the court know that we expect that will be supported by expert testimony and by cross-examination of the state's experts. I need their full cast report and the rest of the discovery related to that before I can say more about that. So to tie me to a deadline when I don't have the rest of the discovery that I've been waiting for that would relate to that will mean that I will be back asking the court to reopen it. My expert can't finish until I get the rest of the discovery as well.
And the discovery you're talking about is a video of the car?
No.
What do you
So the video that we talk about is one that I think the state's going to use in its case that I don't have full video on, that I'm not talking about any video of Bryan's car.
Did you catch it? What you just heard was Judge John Judge saying, quote, and this discovery you're talking about is a video of the car? And then Ann Taylor says, no. The judge says, what do you mean? And Ann Taylor says, the video we talk about is one I think the state's going to use in its case that I don't have a video on, that I'm not talking about any video of Bryan's car. Ann Taylor confirmed to everyone that the white Hyundai Elantra is indeed BK's car. Please subscribe.